Yo, this is DPS Podcast. That's Damage Per Second Podcast. We are in the background trying to figure out why Discord not working correctly with roles and stuff. But this is episode 271. We're back on a fine Friday night. Feeling fantastic. It's Friday. My bad. It's Friday. We couldn't do Thursday. I had a work emergency I had to take care of, and I didn't get done until like 11 o'clock at night. Forte said he was going to play Call of Duty with me to make up for it. He didn't. I actually called him, and he said, "Oh, I'm eating food at 11 o'clock at night." And then he was like, "I'll be there in 2 minutes," and then never showed up. It don't take you 20. It don't take you 20 minutes to eat no food. Right? And you fell asleep like you face planted in the food, watching the YouTube video. Forgot. I say that with quotation marks. I see why Ramon can't see it. Okay, I got you, Ramon. I'm gonna take care of it. There you go. You should be good. He should be good. He should be good to go. But yeah, look, we got a very interesting show tonight. There's a lot of spicy topics that have been going on in the gaming industry, in the gaming community over the past week. And I kind of really wanted to get into this stuff last night when I was like raring to go, and I couldn't. So I'm still raring to go. I'm just like more like at like, I don't know, like 85% instead of 100%. A what? A purr? Like a cat? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Forte, Gaming Forte. What you been up to, man? What you been doing? Ooh, wait. Say something.
Something dark side.
This is why.
Oh, so he can't. So you can hear me, but they can't hear me. Ain't this something? Hey, what does this remind you of, Ramon? This remind when I used to host.
Look, man.
I cannot tell a lie.
This is yeah, look, man, I ain't got no excuses. I messed up. My bad. We good now. Everyone let me know that I screwed that up. But we good. Forte.
What's up,
I have a question to ask you because we were discussing something last week. Remember, we were discussing how you were supposed to get the Cyclone 2, right? The GameStar Cyclone 2 controller. How'd that turn out for you?
I bought it and then I sent it back because it was trash. And I said, I'm not playing with a Cyclone 2 when I could get an 8K for literally the same, $20 more. And that's what I did. And I sent the picture to SloMo, proving the deed has been done. So I am. But go ahead. You seem like you wanted to put some more sauce on this. It's not a trash controller. I'm just messing around.
It's way better than that Elite controller you was using. Did you actually use the Cyclone 2?
I did. You want me to crap on one of my favorite controllers right now, right? That's what you want me to do?
Might as well. It's an 8-year-old controller.
Okay, well, listen, you should be saying, dang, Forte, I don't understand how you were still able to play as competent as you. I'm not going to say good. I'm just gonna say competent.
Well,
You play
I'm gonna tell
you
you what I
play
always tell
more
people.
competent than most people play with that trash controller that you call a piece of hardware that you use to aim and run around with. That's what you should be saying. But no,
Okay.
I will give it up. Once I played with the Cyclone 2, played a couple of games, played some Battlefield with it. I actually jumped into some Halo. I re-downloaded Halo because I haven't played it. First of all, don't jump into Halo without warming up. That is a bad mistake. It is so bad. But yeah, I will give credit. The controller does feel really good. It's responsive. The triggers feel good. The holofix, all that stuff is great. The polling is amazing on the controller. You do feel it's not even a slight difference. It is a huge difference from what the Elite controller is to what it is to what that controller is. And you'll never know it if you don't try something new. Like, it was no reason for me ever to upgrade my controller because I didn't have issues with my controller. Like I said, I didn't have my Elite Series 2 for 3 years now with no issues. Hasn't broken on me or anything since like the last time I replaced it. So I guess ignorance is bliss because I didn't know what I was missing. Now I have I will say this. Back. Well, yeah, I can't go back to that, bro. My Elite controller is sitting in the case right now. I was actually contemplating if I wanted to get to $60. I was contemplating if GameStop was going to still give me $60 for it, and I could use that to, get something else. But no, I did thoroughly enjoy that controller. And then I just happened to be going. I was just like looking at a couple of reviewers. I forget his name. Starts Red. Shout out to him. He's doing what I forget his name, but I watched a lot of his videos talking about all these different controllers, and I just told myself, I said, "Dang, this could have been slow-mo.
Here we go.
This could have been slow." I was like, all this information that I'm getting from this great individual that reinforced the reason why I turned back in my Cyclone and started looking at the G7 Pro and then said, "Oh, you know what? The 8K version is better." Okay, so
Ramon.
And then I found out that the D-pad sucked on the G7 Pro. All of these different things.
I said all these things already. Haven't I said all these things already?
But it's a lot different. See, listen. But no, see,
I said
no. Wait. Hold up. No, I know you did
directly to you,
but not listen, you
YouTuber looking at you saying it.
Listen,
me telling you directly.
Go ahead.
I told you all these things for months, and you basically ignored me. And now you decide, hey,
I got to get this YouTuber's name.
I don't even care. Forget what SloMo was saying. I'm going to watch a YouTuber and let a YouTuber tell me everything I need to hear. Crazy
work. Listen, SloMo, you know why? Because I ain't gonna lie, I thought you were just being super biased, bro. I was like, SloMo up here being biased with these controllers because he happened to have bought all these controllers and didn't know what the heck he was getting himself into. And I was like, he must not be too confident because he ain't making no videos about them. So that's
ridiculous logic.
That is what I'll say. But with that being said,
mind-boggling logic.
Red Bandana Gaming.
I already knew who you were talking about.
Yeah,
I've seen his videos before.
He's definitely okay. But guess what? You actually are better. I can tell by just listening to you talk about it. But guess what? He's getting 4,900 views on a comparison of a G7 Pro and an 8K controller. But SloMoBackSlap ain't do that. So I had to go to the authority to hear what other people had to say.
The authority.
I said, I said,
I can't even lie though. When I see somebody who does a far worse job than SloMo, I start punching air. I'm like, why is this fool got all of these damn subs and blah blah blah?
Right.
And SloMo's over here dropping on Blue Sky polling rates and everything, and did a much thorough job. So I got to with Forte on this one.
Yeah, exactly. So, but needless to say, I did the thing. I went to the GameStop website. It was like, okay, I can actually get this controller for a little bit cheaper. And, so I'm fully in now, SloMo. I ain't even got a chance to play with the 8K. I just download the GameSir Connect app so I can map all my buttons and everything. So we all ready to go. It's sitting on this beautiful, nice little AIM Labs little dock with the little USB plugged into the back of it so I can go wireless. I love how when you pick the controller up, it just syncs to your system and it's like all cute, and I love it. The little green, guess what? I got the little green lights on it, for Xbox, rest in peace. But
wow.
With that being said, I am thoroughly enjoying the GameSir life that I've been experiencing for the last. So thank you, SloMo. I just wish you could convince more people to do it. By, we're not going to talk about that no more. But outside of all that tangent that you wanted to go on about how you convinced me to buy the controller, I'll give you credit for that. You were the catalyst that made that happen. I appreciate you. But outside of that, the rest of my week, I worked 73 hours so far this week. And this week doesn't end till tomorrow. 73.
Damn.
I had my
tomorrow too.
I'm only working 4 hours. I'm just opening my store tomorrow. So 10 to 2. Because I ain't had nobody else that could open. But so I'll be at 77 hours by the time. But yeah, it was crazy. I had inventory this week. I had a complete wall move where I had to move one part of my store to the back and the other side to the front. That was crazy. And it was then I could have possibly had a regional visit earlier in the week, like on Monday. So I was really prepping for that too. And they ended up not even coming to my store. So that was without fail, but it's fine. But so I did all that. That was fun. I went to go see Michael Jackson. That was great. I was in my feels for part of that whole movie. I was like, man, this is great. But
did you know?
Go ahead. What?
No, I'm about to say something slanderous. Let me not.
Yeah, please do.
I don't even know if it's really true or not. I think it might be a rumor. I ain't gonna say anything. No, it's something about.
Hold up, bro.
So it was the thing. Jafar is.
Yeah,
the
Jafar Jackson. Yeah, Jafar Jackson, Jermaine Jackson's son.
What do you know about his mother?
Continue.
Actually, I don't want to.
Okay.
If y'all want to know about that, y'all should look it up and then sit quietly for 5 minutes and process what that all means. It's a lot to process.
Request. This man,
Ramon, what you been up to, man?
Well, I've been playing with my trash Cyclone 2 controller. And but no, I've been
look, Forte has a habit of so when he finally decides to upgrade, right? Everything that's below what he upgrades to is garbage. So when he had a 3070 or something, and then he upgraded to a 4090.
Peasantries.
Everything else, garbage. My 4080 Super, garbage. So now he been playing on literal garbage, a controller that's been handicapping him for years. He finally upgrades to probably the best controller out there, and then decides, the Cyclone 2 is trash, even though the Cyclone 2 literally takes buckets of dumps on that Elite 2 he was using for forever.
But I don't play on a controller that's worse than a Cyclone 2.
You did.
I don't now.
5 minutes ago.
See, we're not talking about past. We're talking about now. We're not talking about last week.
You have to understand,
about now,
Forte, that everything that's below the best controller isn't garbage.
I didn't say. Well, actually, you heard me come back and say, no, it's not really trash. I'm just being really, really messy right now. It's not trash.
Not you. Not you being messy, Forte. Not you.
Well, I'm always being.
He's always messy. So this,
That's
Sarcasm, sir.
messy Forte is what he
Now,
really is.
let's be for real. There are some way more messy people out here than I am.
Well, of course, but you're still messy. So my bad, Ramon. You know,
Back to
you've been
Ramon.
playing with your awesome and super reliable game, Sir Cyclone 2, and what you been doing? What you been doing with that?
Well, I don't even remember. Oh yeah, so I'm still playing Crimson Desert. I'm about 82 hours in, and for me to be 82 hours into a game and still not getting fatigued with it is like a major record. Because usually I start getting fatigued after I cross the 40-hour mark, sometimes 50 hours if it's really doing something. So I'm still having a blast with it, and yeah, and then obviously started Saros. Last week was pretty cool. I had a day on set for the show that's going to be they're filming the first season. If it takes off, then my character might recur. So I've been doing all the prayers and all the prayers that one can do, because this would be pretty cool. So see what happens with that. And that's pretty much been about it. Still editing this book that I need to.
Don't forget us when
get out
you are, you big time, man. Don't forget us.
Oh man, you already know. I have my own show. I'm gonna have somebody. I'm gonna have somebody watching DPS on the TV or something. Be like, well, Mr. Terrell, this doesn't really fit in with the scene. Be like, turn the TV on.
I want to be an extra. You know, in the background. No one's gonna know it's me, and I'm not even going to ever say that it was me. I just want to be.
Just wear a cap, shades, and a trench coat. You'll be very incognito.
Right.
No one will suspect a thing.
It's funny you mentioned Crimson Desert, because I have 220 hours in that game. I am in chapter 10, I think, and the fatigue has finally hit me. I think
that's a lot of hours. You know,
that is a lot of hours.
I think it's about time I just go ahead and golden path the rest of this game and finish it up, because I do this with open world games or games with a ton of content often, where I'm just like so immersed in the world, and I want to do everything, and I'm like on a side quest, and another side quest pops up, and I just got ADHD, and I just go following that one.
That game is good at that. It's really good at doing that.
Very good at that. And so like I do this all the time, and then it's just like a switch was flipped. I just go, oh, I don't feel like doing this no more. I just don't feel like doing this no more. And then I need to just beeline the rest of the game. And that's not really a criticism of Crimson Desert. I mean, we've discussed, ad nauseum the game's strengths and weaknesses, but it's just more of like how I am. And with 200 plus hours in the game, I've definitely got my money's worth and my fill of it. And it's about time I move on. So I'm going to just go finish the game up and then really focusing on other games that I've been kind of having in a waiting period, because like I still haven't started Pragmata, and I bought Pragmata. You okay, man?
Yeah, something went down the wrong way.
Oh, okay. Eating on the podcast. Okay.
Don't choke on air, man.
That was water. Water going down the wrong air, going down the air pipe. That's all that was, sir. Thank you for your concern, though.
Although I am, I gotta be. I'm always concerned for you. Always.
I would hope so. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, I did start Saros today, though. That one, was one of my highly anticipated games of the year. So I definitely wanted to. Pragmata was more of, when I played the demo, I was like, oh, this is kind of dope. I'm definitely going to get this, and I'm still going to play through it. Still going to, play it and everything. I already bought it. It's installed. I just haven't played it yet because I just wanted to finish Crimson Desert. I just had like this kind of feeling that if I started playing a bunch of other games, without finishing Crimson Desert, that I was just like never going to finish it. So I just want to finish the game and then move on. But yeah, I've been playing that. I've been playing Black Ops 7, by myself because Forte ain't joined me. And like it's just interesting with like the various ways that people cheat in that game, like just the lengths that people go. And now I've like learned of like this new way that people are cheating where they're using like some kind, I don't know if it's like an outside third party mod or like software or something, but they're using cheats to make the sound like ridiculous. Like basically they're like people are playing Warzone. I don't play Warzone like that, but like people are playing Warzone. You can hear someone running around in a building that's like across the street from you, and it's just like that shouldn't be possible. That shouldn't be possible. Like people are using, instead of using wall hacks, they're using sound hacks where you sound like the juggernaut coming or sliding around the corner when the game's audio has been tuned a particular way. And it does give you options to kind of like vary that up, but it's been tuned a particular way on purpose to kind of not give people those kind of advantages. But it's like people are 2-boxing, 3-boxing, people are turning on VPNs, getting in bot lobbies. It's
like,
just,
what's the point of that though? It's like not even fun.
I don't. Yeah, I don't get the point of this is why I really think it is. A lot of these people are bums.
Oh,
yeah, they're
a lot
trash.
of bums
They're
that
trash
do
at the
this,
game.
and they're trash at the game, and they can't be competitive unless they are using cheats. And I say that
No
not
gamers
trying
left
to
behind.
act like, I'm not trying to act like I'm like the best shooter player out there, but I say that because I see their like replay clips and things, and I see them playing, and it's like their crosshair isn't even close to where it needs to be. They aren't looking in the right directions. When they go around corners, they got no situational awareness. They don't understand the maps well. They don't understand when to push, when to flank, when to do anything. It's just they just bums, man. They just bums cheating, and it's just I feel like, and I'm killing a lot of them. Like they're killing me, but I'm killing them too. And like you're cheating, and I'm still killing you. You should be ashamed of yourself. And I think what is really, they are so bad, and they get ished on by good players, and they just say, all right, well, and I think this is this is also something of it. There are some players that are pretty decent, but they're getting killed by blatant cheaters, and then they just go do the whole, well, if I can't beat them, join them kind of thing, and it just becomes an issue where it's just too many cheaters in the game. And this is Activision's fault, because when there's blatant cheating and people mass report someone, and then the end result of it is that nothing happens to them, or they get shadow banned instead of permanently banned, clearly you don't really care, and everything you're saying is lip service about like stopping the issues that are going on. And I do think that, like, especially with the way they added Omni movement, and it really caused a skill gap between the players who are good at movement and the players who aren't. You add all that into place. There's now cheats for movement too, and it's just, if you're not going to take it seriously, people are just going to check out and play games where they feel like the developer does care about fairness, does care about making sure that like each match is as about skill and actually being good at the game, and not a cheat off where
That's
it's
the
like
only way it's going to change.
my
That's
cheats
the only way
better
it's
than
going
your
to change.
cheats, and it's just it's whack. So I mean, like, I'm still playing just because I need to get my fix for competitive shooting. But I mean, I don't really care. I'm really at this point looking forward to whatever Modern Warfare 4, whatever they want to call it, is, and so I'm pretty sure they'll reveal it close to the Xbox showcase or during the showcase in another month. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Black Ops 7 has definitely been a misstep overall. What else? Oh, Hades. I'm still playing Hades. I still can't beat this particular like boss, like the end boss at one of these runs. And if anyone has played Hades 2 already, they're probably looking at me like, where is this? Especially if you just started playing, because then you don't know where I'm at. But I wouldn't even say this is spoilers. This is light spoilers at this point. And the game's been out for a while. So if you haven't known this yet, then that's on you. But anyway, Hades 1 had like your roguelike like runs, what had you trying to escape Hades, escape hell. And in Hades 2, you are the main character from one's sister, and in the beginning, she's trying to get into the underworld to fight who the main boss is. Halfway through the game, it gets revealed that you're actually doing 2 different runs at the same time. Well, not at the same time. You can choose which one you want to do, but you can choose to go down into the underworld to fight the boss that's down there, the main boss that's down there, to complete a run. Or you can go up towards Olympus and then you gotta fight a number of harder bosses. They're all harder than the bosses going into the
Stay
underworld.
light on details, sir. Stay light on details, please.
Okay, so I'm not gonna go any further, but like the end boss heading towards Olympus is has been kicking my behind for a minute now, and had me even contemplating turning on God mode. That's how bad I was. I literally would get to this boss with 3 death defiances. Death defiance is like if you die, you get to come back with like a percentage of your health back. It's like I think it's like something like 25% or 30% of your health back, something like that. I will have all my death defiances. I'll get to this boss and I will lose them all. And yeah, so I gotta figure it out. Like I haven't looked at any kind of guides or anything for Hades 2. It's all been me playing it, like figure things out on my own. All the bosses, I haven't struggled with any of the bosses going down towards the underworld, but except for the first boss going towards Olympus, the rest of them I've hit a wall with. And then I had to like get to the point where I had to figure out like their pattern and really like get it download the boss and beat them. And at this point, every run I do now, I beat all the other bosses in each biome leading up to that last one. I can get there without dying. But now, unfortunately, I don't know. I might need to go look up something to figure out what I need to do to beat this guy, because it is not fun.
So it's significantly harder than the first one.
Oh yeah. This is.
Oh man.
I think Hades 1 is a cakewalk compared to Hades 2, and overall, I think that Hades 2 is a better game in every way except for the weapons. I think in some degrees the weapons are better. There's more customization with them, but as far as like, I think it's more personal preference for me. I enjoyed the weapons of the first game more than the weapons of the second game, and the weapons of the second game are very unique. You know, and the first one's Zachary's. That's the main character. Like he had a gun, he had a bow and arrow, a spear, a regular sword and shield. Like kind of basic stuff that you kind of expect they use in a game that has like melee combat. His sister, is it Minoe, whatever it is, Minoa, something like that. She has flaming skulls. She's got like a magic staff. She's got my favorite weapon of hers is there's two of them. She's got like this cloak that's pretty dope. And that's like the last one that you get. And then there's the one that I'm using in the Jumbotron, the gameplay right now is like these lanterns, these dual lanterns that she uses. That's like my favorite weapon of hers to use. And it's just like there's really like only 2 or 3 weapons that I really rock with. The rest of them just feel awkward to me. And it's what it is. I know it's personal preference, but I think the only thing the first game really has on the second one is the weapons. Everything else, the difficulty, the visuals, the maybe the music in the first game is better too. But like the story's dope. All of that stuff is really good. And that's no knock against Hades 1. Hades 1 is fantastic and was a Game of the Year nominee, and it was well deserving of it. This one also is a Game of the Year nominee and was also well deserving of it. So yeah, that's all. I think we have all discussed what we've been doing. Are you guys ready to get into the rapid fire topics?
Let's do it.
Yep, let's do it.
Oh really? Oh really? So according, this is me being messy. But so
Let's go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Pistons came back and won today. I'm sorry.
I'm just like, what is you doing?
I was like,
What's going on?
I was like, man, you really
Dog.
like that drama,
I
don't
didn't
you?
even say the topic yet.
His voice cracked and everything.
No, because my boy just texted me because because they were losing by like 17 points in the third quarter and they came back and won by 20. God damn, I thought it was over. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go, Slow-Mo. Tell me about this amazing topic you about to talk about. Let's go.
Anyway, all that fake enthusiasm. Anyway, so according to Sakana, a consumer survey they ran for the first quarter of 2026, the number one reason people play on console is for exclusive games. The number 2 reason is for friends and family. They use the same console. But number 1 reason.
What's the percentages on these?
I didn't see any percentages. I didn't care because
you don't care.
For too long, I've been hearing from a certain camp that, exclusive games are outdated. No one cares about exclusives anymore. Do you see the most common games played? They're not exclusives. Everyone has them. Who cares about exclusives? You know who have been the only people saying that? The people who don't have exclusives for their favorite platform. Interesting. Odd. Or not. Or basically just typical when people are coping. And if you saw a lot of them when as we discussed, a few weeks ago, when exclusives might be back on the table, a lot of them started to flip flop. Oh, I love me some exclusives. I can't wait. Go ahead. Asha Sharma, give me exclusives. But funny, it's just there's evidence here that exclusives matter. Not just that they matter, that they're the most important thing. And it kind of makes sense when, sure, the most popular games, the most played games out there are on everything. And that's fine. But why would you buy one particular piece of hardware over another? If everyone has the most popular games, you're going to be able to play Call of Duty. You're going to be able to play Roblox. You're going to be able to play Fortnite and Rocket League or wherever the heck else, Madden, GTA, FIFA, all that stuff. You can play it on any of them. Why would you choose one over the other? Clearly, it's because one has something that you want that the other one does not. Ramon, what are your thoughts about this? about this survey?
Well, I mean, it's something that those of us who are not lying to ourselves already knew. Everyone knew this who's not lying to themselves. And the irony of it is the same people who were talking about exclusive games don't matter and that's antiquated and yada 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 preferred their platform because of exclusive features that they would always throw out there. Man, I got quick resume. I got
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That what is that? What is quick resume? It's an exclusive feature. There is no other platform that has that. And they touted that, which is an exclusive feature, which is what it should have. That it's good that it had quick resume and whatever. I don't even remember if it had anything else. The PS5 has the DualSense that they downplayed, saying, "Oh, it's a gimmick" and blah blah blah. The DualSense, like I play, like even on PC, I play whatever games that implement DualSense features. Like Jedi Fallen Order with the like, I love the speaker. I know people turn the speaker off,
Oh,
but
I
those are
definitely turned that thing
exclusive.
off.
Yeah, most people probably do. I love it. I just find it more immersive.
I can always tell when someone's playing on PlayStation. When I'm playing Call of Duty, and I'm
Mhm.
hearing somebody scratching their balls, it's
Oh
because
man.
that dual sense is right near their crotch, and they got the speaker on, and I'm like, it must be a dual sense controller. It must be a dude playing on PlayStation. It's just scratch, 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 belch. You know, he
Oh,
picking
why
in his
don't they
belly
turn it off?
button or something. I look, yeah, turn it off, please.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah.
when we were playing Helldivers, I had always make sure I turned it off. Like, oh my god. But yeah, like I mean, it's like you already said it. Like if why would I choose your platform or over another one if you don't have something to offer me that the other platform doesn't? Then what's the reason? And we saw it happening in real time. While Sarah Bond, love her, but I mean, keeping it a buck. Sarah Bond gets on, does this interview talking about gamers have evolved way past exclusives and blah blah blah. And what started accelerating when they started putting their games everywhere? Like they had their best year. I want to say it was 2021 when they dropped a whole bunch of exclusives. That was the best selling year for their consoles, if I'm not mistaken. And then 2022 happened where they didn't have anything and then they fell off a cliff. But then their free fall, they were in free fall once they started putting their games on PlayStation. Their sales were in free fall at that point. Why? Because people looked at their console and they said, they okay, I don't have like take somebody like myself for instance. I had a Series X, but I was new to Xbox, so like my library was literally probably about, I don't know, like 6 or 7 games, maybe 10. I can't remember, but when I found out that they were gonna, when I realized that they were when I realized they released Starfield at 30 frames, that's what did it for me. But when I decided I was going to build a PC, the Series X funded 3/4 of the price of my GPU because I can play all the games on PC. What do I need an Xbox for? So I mean, if they still had exclusives, I might have kept it because I mean, where am I going to get those games otherwise? But since their games are on a platform that I prefer, and if I was a console only player, I would just, I'd probably just stick with PlayStation and not bother because I can save that money. Why get a platform if they don't have anything, that I can't get anywhere else? So, I
Yeah, for
mean,
sure.
we're speaking the obvious. We're saying what's obvious, and the people who were naysayers also know that it's obvious. But as I've said a million times, it's the fox and the sour grapes. You can't have them. You don't have it, so it's trash. And then, but when you can get it, suddenly it's just the best.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny because like I'm showing Hades 2 gameplay, and this applies for both Hades 1 and 2. Early access only available on what platform?
PC.
Easy.
PC. When it became a full release finally out of beta game, where was it available? The Nintendo Switch.
Nintendo Switch.
And then finally came to the PlayStation and Xbox. You see, Nintendo looked at those games and said, you know what? That's value to us. Let's make sure that we give Supergiant Games whatever they need in order to make sure that we get this game before PlayStation and Xbox does. Why? Because if the game is fire and it's only available in limited places, they gotta come to you to get the game.
Yep.
It's a very, very simple equation there. Forte, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, it's just like at a certain point, I don't know why people can argue the facts. It's like I always say, people forget what they say last week. They forget what they said yesterday or 3 days ago, because, at one point, exclusivity has always been something that people cared about until it wasn't anymore, until Microsoft or until their favorite platform decided to start putting their games in other places. And at that point, it's like, can you really just even believe what people say that's coming out of their mouth and stuff? So for me, it's exclusives after a while stopped being the reason why. I kind of fell more into the camp of my friends were playing on particular platforms, and that's why I kind of stuck with them. But then once all my friends started migrating to other places, then it was like, I don't care where I play at this point. And what is the deciding factor? It's a reason that a lot of people were giving up on their consoles to go to PC, because all the games that were exclusive for a lot of other platforms were starting to, mold itself over to the PC platform, or even if they weren't day and date, it's just the fact that you knew they were coming. Now you see, Sony pulling back on that a little bit more. We know Microsoft is still going to continue going. They may, change the formula a little bit when it comes to when games release, but we also know there's going to be a lot of games that's going to still come day and date. Nintendo's the only one that really and that's why they, 20 plus million Switches sold in the first year that it came out. And that was mostly due to exclusivity and just the Nintendo hive mind working the way that it works. But exclusives always matter. It just depends on what type of gamer you are. Do you even play the exclusives? Because if you don't play the exclusives and you're one of those people that like play Call of Duty every year, Madden every year, games like that, then I will never discount those people and say that it does matter, because they don't even buy them. But I also think exclusivity is the reason that people get into the door. Like, it's the reason that your friend probably bought a PlayStation and convinced you to get a PlayStation because they were already on the platform. So it definitely matters to, like, in the first couple of years of a new generation starting, because that's where those seeds get laid, and allows the platform to, like, not just benefit off the people that came in day one, but they're benefiting off of all the people that those people bring into the ecosystem, because they know that the second, just because this was put out, everybody already knew the number one reason is games. The second reason is where your friends play at. That's literally how I answer that question when people say, hey, what console should I buy? What is your thoughts on this platform? I say, okay, well, what kind of games you like to play? Okay, cool. Do you like to play multiplayer? Do you play with your friends? What system does your friends have? And when they answer that, they be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So that's what I kind of think at the end of the day. This all kind of makes sense. It just really comes down to what kind of gamer you are and how it's going to work for you in the future. But exclusives always mattered. It never been a reason where they didn't. People just want to act like they don't now because, their favorite platform isn't, operating the way that they used to operate before.
Forte, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What did PlayStation do to get people to buy Destiny 2 on PlayStation?
Oh, they literally told people, they literally made it so Destiny 2 could not even be shown. Cover art couldn't be in stores. When Bungie talked about Destiny and they did Vidocs, they couldn't even play with an Xbox controller. It had to be a PlayStation controller. So that game was
they did more than that.
Oh no, they did. They definitely. Oh, they had. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. They had in-game
Exclusive
content that was
missions,
exclusive.
content.
The Hawk Moon was exclusive to
Exactly.
them. And by the
Don't
time
remind me.
Xbox got it, it was like a lame duck. So yeah, exclusivity matters. So it was just a lot of different things that kind of drive what exclusives matter to different platforms and everything. So you're absolutely right about that. Ramon.
All right, let's hit this next topic.
Oh, really?
So, excuse me. This is supposed to be an Xbox dev update coming up, and this will be next week on May 7th with more details on Project Helix. This update will provide a closer look at Project Helix and also do a recap for those who weren't there at the GDC presentation they did on Project Helix earlier this year, and so they'll kind of recap some of the information they provided at that time. They're going to also talk about some changes to the marketplace, and a lot of it is supposed to be really aimed at mostly developers. But I guess since they're making this big announcement about it, this will be something that non-developers will be able to take a look at as well. And so it's a series that's starting with its first episode on May 7th. And so, Forte, I guess my question to you is: are you going to check that out?
More like. I might check it out. I really wasn't paying that much attention to when I saw that this was popping up. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. It just really comes out to like what's going on at that time. I mean, like, have you seen any like what's the sentiment of out there? Like what people are thinking about it from what just from when they started talking about it.
Well, a lot of information that came out about Project Helix from GDC. Kind of dove into some of the features that it would have. Started talking about some of the how it's supposed to play console games as well as PC games, and maybe there a lot of questions. Well, now I guess the maybe part. A lot of questions came out from the things that they had stated. So hopefully what I think what a lot of people are hoping to see is some of those questions get answered. Like for example, on PC, are you going to have your version of Quick Resume for PC, which is like they already kind of have something in the preview program, the insider program that's similar to that like a suspended state kind of thing for games. It's not quite what Quick Resume is, or it doesn't quite work the way Quick Resume does, but it essentially does the same thing with PC games.
Right.
Like, will they be discussing things like that, or showing us how that's implemented, or just really letting people know even further where that's going or what else may be coming from that. That's just an example of the kind of stuff that they might talk about. But I don't know. I'm kind of I'm interested in it, but at the same time, like I think I'm a bit jaded when it comes in particular to anything that kind of has to do with PC itself. This Project Helix device has got a lot, like they're really blending in a lot of the console and PC experiences into one device. And so when for years I've been watching them fail at fixing their issues with their platform on PC, and them now talking about fixing Windows finally after like a gazillion years of people saying, like the experience for a gamer on Windows is not great. I'm just like I'm going to watch it and I'm going to take everything in, but I need to see results at this point. You telling me what you're going to do doesn't get me excited anymore. I actually need to see the stuff get implemented and implemented well, executed well. Ramon, what are your thoughts about
Yeah. So I have zero interest in Helix. Why would I?
it?
As far as their OS, like Microsoft or Xbox really highlighted to me my own naivety. I remember at the start of this gen, I was rooting for Xbox, competition. I was rooting for Xbox. I was like, man, let's get in there. They're making all the right moves. We're gonna have a closer race. PlayStation might still pull ahead because of brand and everything, but Xbox
Right.
is really gonna give them a run. And I was rooting for Xbox, and I'd see a lot of the Xbox gamers. And I'm like, man, why are you guys so harsh on? I mean, they're actually trying to turn it around, and I'm like, why are you guys just so like cut them some slack? Now I understand. My experience with Windows 11 has me so angry with them that I'm at the point. This is the point I'm at. If they released a gaming version of Windows for PC and it worked flawlessly, I would enjoy it until Steam eventually cracks the code on uh, Steam OS to where we can run it on PC. And if it was slightly less performant than Windows, just on GP, I would still convert over to Steam OS because I absolutely loathe Microsoft and Windows. So if they fix the problems, that's fantastic. But I'm only in it until Steam OS does finally cracks the code and they can get everything running, and then after that, I'm out because there's very
It's
little they can
interesting
do.
that you mentioned Steam OS because I do think that uh, Valve, Steam OS, and Linux becoming more of a gaming platform that people
Yep,
are looking forward to. Like right now, I think it's roughly only like 5% of PC gamers are on Linux, but it is
the
it's
Steam machine
becoming
is going to be interesting.
yeah. I mean, the Steam machine is probably a significant portion of that 5%, but more
Yeah,
people are as Steam OS becomes more of an option to just you know choose to be your operating system on your PC. We're starting to see people start to look in that direction, and also some of the issues that the detractors for using Linux in gaming. Some of those things are starting to be alleviated, and it's mostly because developers. So, for example, when it comes to multiplayer games, the most popular games that are out there, Steam, like Linux and Steam OS, isn't really the place to go for that because a lot of the anti cheat does not work in Linux. And it isn't like a technical problem. It could work in Linux if they would spend the time develop, put the resources towards it and actually develop their programs, their anti cheat programs to work on Linux. But when in the past you've had so few people who actually play over there and play within that ecosystem, they're just like, well, why bother? Why am I dedicating resources to a handful of people? I'm not going to
Mhm.
do that. And so now that the numbers are going up for people who are playing in Steam OS, playing in Linux, just straight up in Linux without Steam, like when the more people who are doing that, the more incentive they are to start doing things. Like I think recently, Epic has got Rocket League working on Linux, and prior to maybe say like I don't know like 2 or 3 months ago, that was not the case. And so when you start to see big games like Rocket League start to do it, it can become kind of like a avalanche effect where more and more games will start doing it because they see there is a market there for that, and they can actually get more players or retain more players instead of telling them sorry, go play this on a Windows device or on a console because the OS you chose is just it's just not going to work for us. It's just too few of you over there. So I do think a lot of what they're doing now, taking Windows gaming seriously, is partially due to the fact of their own direction of going towards a PC focused foundation of their platform. But also, they got real competition now. You're not the only game in town. You're not the only option. And plenty of PC gamers are looking at both options and considering whether they're going to go to the other side or not. And so, very, very, very interesting stuff. Um, Anything else you guys? Anything else you guys want to say on this before we move on to the next one?
Move.
Oh really? Oh really? Square Enix has released a demo for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for the Nintendo Switch and for the Xbox Series consoles. And this, it actually, I mean, it looks pretty good. I gotta admit, it looks pretty good. Even on the Switch too. And
Look at you playing
know
games on the Switch too. Let's go.
I didn't play it. I said it looks pretty good. I've seen it.
What?
It runs well. I mean, sure, I did see a couple comparison screenshots where everywhere else there would be like a kitchen table with like all kinds of food and fruit and everything on it. And on the Switch 2, it's just an empty table. they had to cut some corners, right, to make it work, but it works. So I will have to say, hey, look, Game Freak, is it? With Pokemon, you got no excuses.
Yes. Game Freak, baby. You talking about Beast of Reincarnation, baby.
You got zero excuses for Pokemon running like it does on the Nintendo
That
Switch
is nasty
consoles.
work.
When
That is
Square
nasty
Enix
work.
can get a game that's far more visual fidelity running on it. That said, if you decide to do the demo, and the save data from the demo will carry over to the full game that releases next month. So, oh, by the way, what's playing in the Jumbotron clearly is not Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gameplay from any of that. That's PC. You can definitely tell by like the modded outfits and everything. But I just didn't want anyone to get confused and be like, "Oh my god, it looks like that." Like, no, it doesn't. But I did buy Final Fantasy VII Remake on Xbox, but I haven't finished it. I do think I probably will buy Rebirth over there too, just because I've enjoyed the FF7R games, and I have them basically on every platform. I probably will eventually get it on the Switch too as well. But just like considering that's the least performant version of it, that's something I'll do, on the far future. Forte, what are your thoughts on this? Are you gonna first? Did you play Remake? No, wait, I can't remember. Did you say you bought Remake on the Switch?
Yeah, I bought Remake on the Switch. I haven't played it on the Switch yet, but I bought it.
Oh, okay, so are you interested in doing Rebirth on the Switch too?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested.
Okay.
I'm getting
play Remake.
Yeah, I gotta finish Remake on there.
Yeah.
I'm taking my sweet time because I don't, who knows how long it's gonna be until we get the third R in this series, and I ain't trying to wait 6 years in between games.
Interesting you mentioned that. There have been some recent interviews with the directors of the next one, and it appears that we will likely get the reveal of the final R. I think my opinion is that it will be Reunion.
That's what I think.
The first one was Remake. We got Rebirth. I think the
Reunion,
last one's going to be
already
Reunion.
Crisis Core, though, right? Reunion's already Crisis Core.
Oh man, you're right. Good grief.
Reckoning?
Reckoning. I don't know. That is true. I was banking on Reunion anyway.
So almost said I thought I was right.
But they're going to reveal it this summer. It's likely not coming out this year. It's going to come out next year, but they're going to at least show it, at least what's going on in the game, even though a lot of us kind of already know if you played it in the past. But I just want to throw that out there. Ramon, I can't remember if you played through these games or not.
So I played through Remake Integrate twice. First on PS5, and then I got the package deal with Rebirth on PC. Rebirth, I bounced off of it, and I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it was my fault because I went from Integrate straight into Rebirth, and two things killed me. First, the Chocobo side missions to get Chocobos that you could ride the second one really annoyed me. And then a few of the goofy things that were happening, like the freaking dolphin mini game where you had to use the dolphin to get all the, you know, the you know what I'm talking about, the dolphin thing. Like I'm just like, "Dude,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
am I doing right now?" And I just got so annoyed that I turned it off, and I was just like, I just maybe it was my mood. Maybe it was my mood, but yeah, that was so annoying. So I bounced off of it from that. I'm sure it's a really good game. So by the time the third one comes out, I'll probably go back and try it again. I also got bodied by Titan, so there's that as well.
No, you can
Body.
weaken it. You can weaken it. Like if you go around the open world and find like these little shrines, I guess. Not really. Yeah, shrines. You can
Oh,
do
okay.
like a very simple puzzle. It's super easy. And
Oh,
it'll
okay.
give
Okay.
you like I forgot what it gives you, but essentially it weakens the summons that you have to fight. Or you could, just go ahead up with them full strength if you want.
I was close, but
Yeah.
when I tell you he handed me my ass whipping. I mean, I was like, dude, what's going on? So good. Thanks for that tip. I will most certainly do that because Titan is not exactly one of the strongest summons, so I can't even imagine what the other ones are like. Ugh.
Yeah, I never when I first played the Rebirth on PlayStation, I never did all of the like the optional boss stuff like fighting all the summons, doing all the VR challenges. Even the VR challenges
Yeah, I
are
don't do
pretty
those
dope.
either. I do some of them, but yeah, I don't do all those.
I
Too much
intended to
bloat.
go back and complete them all. It's just, like once you beat a game, sometimes you just be like, oh, okay, what's the next thing? And then you just like, yeah, I'll go back to this, and you just never do. Um, but no, look, hey, the Nintendo fans, Xbox, players who've been waiting on this game for forever. You're getting that. They also talked about how they've been optimizing, like now that it's openly coming to all platforms. That's necessarily not necessarily meaning that the last one will come to Xbox and Nintendo and PC day and date as it will on PlayStation, but it's absolutely going to those platforms sooner than it took to get Remake on there. So they're kind of developing the game with those platforms more in mind, even though they say for the most part they don't really think about the platforms too much until they get a little bit you know later into development. Um, all that said, what they're trying to do now is make sure that the Switch version is going to be really, really performant and do really well, even though it's running Unreal Engine 4, so it's not going to be that difficult for it to run. But they just want to make sure that like all versions are polished and looking good and running good at launch. So that's good for that. Anything else before we get into? I think there's only. Oh, that is actually it. We don't have any more rapid fires. Look at that.
We out here.
So
Let's do it.
let's get into our first actual main topic here, which is about the Switch controller. So and funny enough, it looks like the Steam. I said Switch controller. My bad. The Steam
You
controller.
did. I think you're on the
Um,
switch kick.
yeah. We also are getting we're also getting from what rumors are saying is that the same people who noticed that Valve's warehouses were being stocked with the Steam controller, these same people are saying that these warehouses are now being stocked with the Steam machine. So we may finally get an announcement release date and price of the Steam machine pretty soon. So, when that comes out, we'll definitely discuss it here on DPS. But first, let's just talk about the Steam controller that will be available to be purchased on Monday. That'll be May 4th. And the embargo dropped on those reviews. Steam controller, you could just, go on YouTube anywhere. There's a number of different controller reviews. We did discuss, I think, some of them last week, but they were very much like it wasn't the right people reviewing these controllers. This is no shade towards the tech, big, massive tech tuber channels that did the initial reviews, but they don't do controller reviews. They don't actually like get into the weeds with this. Even Gamer Nexus, who is people consider tech Jesus, was sitting there in his review like, I didn't even know what TMR was. I really enjoyed doing this review. I learned a lot. And I'm just like, look, when I controller head that I am, want to see a review, I don't really care to see a review from a guy that knows less about this stuff than I do.
That's why you should make videos. Be the authority.
Anyway, as more time has come out, Valve has trickled in more review units to the more traditional controller reviewers, and there've been some pretty good reviews out there that I've seen. So, to kind of get into, Ramon, you got some feedback. I don't know if it was something going on with your mic, but yeah.
How's it now? Is it okay now?
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
So the Steam controller, essentially, it's got some really unique features that don't exist on any other controllers. The first thing I want to talk about is they got this thing they call the puck, and the puck it doubles as the charger for the Steam controller as well as the 2.4 gigahertz receiver for wireless play with the device, and that's unique in itself because no other charger for any other controllers do that. But the other thing that this thing does is that you can connect up to 4 Steam controllers to one puck, and you can also use one puck to be like connected to like a Steam machine and your desktop PC at the same time, which is pretty dope. It also apparently will have the I don't know if this is going to be there at launch, but it's supposed to have the capability of doing 6 hertz receiving as well. And I mean, that's completely different. No one's ever done that before. So that's pretty interesting. Steam input is the primary method by which this controller interfaces with PC. So there is a lot of customization that can go with that. There's a lot that you can do. You can literally remap every single button of the controller, and the touch pads are very well done. The battery life is ridiculous. I've seen on average that it's like 35 hours before you actually need to put it back on the puck and have it charged. A lot of this stuff is really good. The range of it, you could be across the room, or depending on how big your room is, of course. And the connection is still good. All that's fine, but there are some issues here, and some limitations. I think that some reviews I enjoyed and respected for them getting into it and really trying to inform people who were interested in this device of what they're getting into and what it does and does not do well or not at all. And then there's some reviews that are essentially like glossing over those things. Just Valve's great, and these are frankly Valve fanboys at this point, Steam fanboys, that anything Steam does, they act like it's the greatest thing in the world, and they're the only ones that ever do it. But one of the limitations of this device is that it doesn't have X input. And so what X input is that is the firmware that allows the vast majority of the controllers on PC to actually work on Windows. And so for the majority of the games on the majority of the storefronts, Steam, Epic Games Store, the Xbox PC app, GOG, when you use a controller, and it's now a standard. It didn't used to be like this back in the day, like a little more than a decade ago. It was not a universal absolute that you would get a game and it would have controller support. For most games now on PC do have it. Some of them don't, but they're in the minority. It used to be the opposite of that. X input is the reason for that, and Microsoft does get the credit for creating X input from D input and allowing that to be the standard on Windows. So that said, the Steam controller does not have X input, which basically means that this is a closed platform controller on PC, which is a open platform. You can't use the Steam controller on the Epic Games Store natively straight out the box, or the Xbox PC app, or anything else outside of Steam. There are methods that you can do to allow this to happen. There are ways that you could figure it out, but I think a lot of people need to know ahead of time before they buy this controller that you may have to go to GitHub and install some software that allows you to have X input. You may need to go into Steam and then create a second layer for the controller's customization settings to allow you to be able to play games on Game Pass, for example. There's a lot there that is, I would say, not very consumer friendly for people who aren't trying to do all this additional work just to get the controller to do something that every other controller can do. The controller only has 250 hertz polling rate, which is the same polling rate as a DualSense controller. It's the same polling rate as the DualSense controller, which is double what an Xbox Series controller and Xbox Elite controller has, but far way outdated compared to literally anything else that comes out in this day and age. Most controllers are coming out now, and I'm talking about like $50 controllers, and they can do 1,000 hertz polling. The fact that this controller only does 250 at the most, that's a disappointment. The latency, the stick latency, the button latency on average is 8 milliseconds latency, which is also what you get on an Xbox controller, which is double the latency of a DualSense and 8 times the latency of a G7 GameSir G7 Pro. So like all these limitations, in addition to the fact that it doesn't have trigger stops, so you can't get micro triggers for those who like shooters like myself. You can kind of simulate the effect of micro triggers through Steam and customizing the triggers yourself, but that's not as good as actually having physical trigger stops. You know, like there's a lot of negatives here that, sure, Valve's very good at updating anything they come out with. When people don't like something, typically they do an update and they can figure it out. We've seen that with like the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck has come a very, very long way from where it was to where it is now. And so I expect a lot of that to happen with the Steam controller. But that said, like, it's not a controller I think that people can use as their primary controller. If you are not like myself, who has 5,000 controllers, if you just got one controller or a couple controllers, but you just want to have a main controller and you say, oh, wow, this thing's got a trackpad. I could play games like that need a mouse and play this with that. And then, you know, maybe I can make this my main controller. I would say maybe pump the brakes on that. It's just not capable of being a controller that's good for everything. It's just kind of just good for a certain use case. And then in addition to the trackpad, so let's say you go into big picture mode in Steam, the trackpad, you can't use the trackpad to navigate. Straight out the box, you actually have to like go into the controller settings and remap the trackpad to allow you to navigate through the UI. It's just like, this is some basic stuff that should have been already there. Maybe that will come in a firmware update. But all that said, $100 controller, $20 more than what you get from like a Xbox or PlayStation controller. Available on Monday. Ramon, what are your thoughts about all that?
So
are you getting the controller? Let me probably better say it like that.
I'm kind of 80%, 20% in favor of getting it. So I mean, you laid it all out perfectly. There's one thing that I've been seeing / hearing some people say about its lack of compatibility with other platforms. they're saying like, well, that's anti-consumer. And it's like, I think we need to distinguish the difference between less consumer friendly and anti-consumer. Anti-consumer is them, saying, you can only use the Steam controller on Steam games, and for that reason, they eject all of the games that you load into Steam from other launchers, and you can now only play Steam games on Steam. You know what I mean? That's like anti-consumer, where but less consumer friendly is okay. It's not compatible with other platforms. That's not anti-consumer. It's just less consumer friendly. And I've just been seeing people say that. So I mean, we just gotta distinguish. I mean, if you really want to use the Steam controller with games not on the Steam launcher, you can do so by loading those games in, launching them through Steam, and you can do it. So, I mean, it adds an extra step. It's an extra step of friction, but it's there. So, I mean, I just wanted to say that real quick. In terms of the controller itself, the biggest flaws for me are originally the two biggest flaws were the polling rate and the lack of like adaptive or haptic rumble triggers, adaptive triggers. Those, I love those. So the fact that it doesn't have that is a big negative for me. And when I just heard you say that the sticks have the same latency as an Xbox controller, that adds a third bit of friction for me. That's a major negative. Um, Playing it on other platforms, I mean, I have a GameSir Cyclone too, so I'm covered with that. But I do recognize that as you know a negative for people who just want to have one controller. Um, is it possible to increase the polling rate via a firmware update?
No,
Is that
no,
possible?
that's not
Oh, so
that
it's
won't be
that's just what
possible.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something else I did wanted to add. I was looking at some of the comments in the chat. And so two things I forgot to say. It does have back buttons, so it has like 4 back buttons in the back. If that's something that you're interested in, you can map those. But what it doesn't have that a lot of controllers come with today are controller profiles. So you know how like on a DualSense Edge, a Xbox Elite controller, any GameSir, 8-bit do or Fly Digi controller, you can change profiles. So you can create a profile for a particular game that you may like and have like, how your buttons are set up, how the polling rate is in that profile. Like you can lower the polling rate if you want to, change the dead zones. You can map the back buttons to particular buttons that may make it more useful for you while you're playing that particular game that you create the profile for. They don't have profiles for the Steam controller, but you can kind of like create that to a degree within Steam. So you can switch to you have to go into Steam to kind of switch those profiles, so to speak. Now that is reminiscent of how Razer released the Wolverine 3 V3 initially, where it did have profiles, but the profile you had to open up the Razer app in order to change the profile, which just annoyed people until Razer eventually came out with a firmware update that changed that. And that's just kind of something that you kind of can do, but still some of a limitation as well. What was your question again?
Oh no, I was just asking if the through a firmware update, if the polling rate could be increased. So if it's stuck at
it can be. No.
Yeah, so if it's stuck at 250, then that's the major point of contention that I have to kind of think about, because here's my thing. The Steam controller, first and foremost, like the reason I had to sell my 8-bit do Ultimate 2, and I love that controller, everything about it, but the size and shape was
let me be clear about that polling rate thing. I've seen people say that they can overclock a controller, and overclocking controllers is something that you can do. But I've seen people say they can overclock an Elite 2.0 and give it a higher polling rate. But what I actually believe that's more of like a placebo effect. Like they can get the
Yeah.
software they're using that's testing it to show a higher polling rate, but in actual playing games, it's not higher. And it doesn't feel higher because I actually tried that with my Elite 2.0. I overclocked it. It was like when I did my testing, it tested for 500 hertz polling. When I played a game, it was definitely still at 125 hertz. So I just don't. So I don't want to definitively say you can't increase it, but if you're someone who's not really trying to do too much customization with this, or
I'm not trying to do all that.
like for example, with X input, you can get X input through a particular. There's for original Steam controller, it was called Glossy, which was a program someone developed and put on GitHub, and you can get that installed on your PC, and then that would give you X input for the original Steam controller. There's an updated version that's already made for the Steam controller before it even comes out that you can get and do exactly the same thing. I forgot the name of it. It's not called Glossy anymore. It's called something else, but if you Googled it, you probably would find it. So there are ways to kind of get what you want it to do. It's just not very consumer friendly for everyone to have to do these things just to get what I would say is basic stuff that every controller should have at this point. I am of the mind that every controller should have trigger stops. Every controller should have back buttons, at least 2. Every controller should have a minimum 500 hertz polling. And every controller should have profiles. I just think that at this point now, like something that the Elite 1.0 controller introduced how many years ago, like a decade ago, that should not be considered premium. When there are $50 controllers that provide that experience, you can't call yourself premium just because you got TMR sticks.
But how much is that on the platform holders like Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo to not even allow the polling to be higher? Because like I think on Switch 1 is 100, like
125 is the
100,
cap.
and then Switch 2 is 250 and Xbox is 250, and so it's like you only get those high polling and hertz rates on PC or mobile. So it's like, it's not that I don't think that they want, like the manufacturers of the controllers don't want to do it. It's just that the platform holders are kind of holding that back. And they're probably doing it mostly due to the fact that they want to sell their own controllers. And, you know, even though, and I feel like, you know, the overall feel and everything of like these newer controllers feel better, like when it comes to like the overall response rates in general, it's not a big enough difference for people to move off of their first party controlers, you know,
that's because they don't know. It's
but that's what I'm saying. They don't know.
If they knew, if they actually experienced it, they'd be like you said about your Elite 2.0, I'm not going back to that. Like, it's like once you've experienced what better performance is, you can't go back to playing like the same way when we started playing Destiny on PC, and then we tried to go back to console. We was like, I'm moving them.
Like, what were we doing?
I can't do this.
I got it.
So it's the same thing really with controllers too. It's just, you know, the people who say, well, that's great and all, but like, I'm just fine with this outdated piece of crap in my hands. These are people who have never experienced anything else, so they, of course, they say it's fine because they're just like, well, look, I enjoy my games. I enjoy playing these games. This controller doesn't show stick drift, so why do I need TMR or Hall effect? I don't know if it has stick drift, even though I got my dead zones set to 12 when I play a game. Like, you got stick
way
drift.
Over to the right.
You just don't, you know, see it, but it's there, you know, and it's getting progressively worse every time you play a new game. You got to set the dead zone, you know, higher. But all that said, like the Steam controller has some of the best TMR implementation that's out there, but they also don't have metal rings around the thumbsticks, so that like a lot of people kind of feel like over time you may not have stick drift, but the tension of the thumbsticks might not be as good as it was when you first bought the controller, you know? So it's just like, this is one of those things where it's weird to me because it's like it's a controller that has a lot of innovative features, but doesn't have the basic stuff that every controller should have. So it's almost as if you buy it, it's because you're a very unique kind of gamer that plays certain kinds of games, or you just want it for a particular kind of use case, or you're like myself, I'm getting one because I think the puck is dope, and I really want to do some testing with things and try it out. But like, it's never going to be my main controller, like it can't be because it's just too limited and there's too much work I have to do to even get it to do the basic stuff I can get an 8-bit do Ultimate 2 to do.
And then on that 8-bit do Ultimate 2, I had to sell mine because my hands were cramping. Love the controller. Amazing controller. I mean, everything about it is premium, but the shape and the size was just enough to where my hands cramp. I look at that Steam controller and it looks perfect for my hands. I mean, it looks perfect for my hands. So that's why when they said they didn't have the adaptive and rumble triggers, I was like, all right, well, I can live without that, whatever. But then when I saw the polling rate, I was like, man. So that's why it's been so hard. I've been like for the past 2 days trying to decide because on the one hand, like, it has the same polling rate as my DualSense, which, I mean, that's fine. Like I still, like I say, on PlayStation games, either on PS5 or on PC, I always use the DualSense because I love those features. But with a premium controller like that, right? But the hand cramp thing is real. So I mean, for my size hands, that controller looks like it's like perfect for that. So that's why I've been kind of bouncing back and forth. Like, do I go ahead and get it? Do I not? So I'm about 80%, but I'm still trying to decide.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I mean,
Slow-mo,
even though I literally,
you get everything.
I know you're gonna get it. It's gonna be the top. It's gonna be the star on your controller Christmas tree at the very top.
It's gonna be the North Star.
Because I literally just bought a GameSir G7 Pro tournament 8K. Because I don't have an 8K controller, so I'm like, I need to get an 8K controller.
Then this will happen. I told SloMo that I was going to get a G7. When I told him I was going to get the G7 Pro 8K, he said, "Man, I don't even got that." And then I sent him a picture of mine today. Did he say? He said Ascension. Then he said, "But guess what I got coming tomorrow?" I say, "Look at you!" I done forced SloMo was like, "Listen, Forte cannot be out here with a fake controller, and I ain't got one."
Yeah. I did feel some kind of way. I was like, this man got an AK. I don't have an AK controller. I got like 3 G7 Pros, which weren't all. I didn't buy 3 G7 Pros. Just to clear that up. And there was.
Well, how did you end up with 3 G7 Pros if you didn't pay for them? Did they sponsor you?
I wish, but no. So I'll explain it. I was an early adopter on the G7 Pro when it came out last year, but their first batch of controllers had a physical defect with the right trigger, micro trigger stop. It was not strong enough, and after consistent usage, it would fail. And what will happen is that if you engage the trigger stop from micro triggers, it would inconsistently determine you were pulling the trigger. So let's say if you're shooting a gun, it will almost be like you were rapid firing a gun, not rapid fire, you're like burst firing a gun, but not even burst firing it on a consistent pace when you just pulled the trigger. And so that was a failure. Now, if you're someone who had the early G7 Pros, there is a way. 2 things you can do. You can do what I did, which is you contact GameSir on their Discord, create a video showing the failure. When you bought the controller, you got a 1-year warranty, and they'll send you a new controller for free. That's what they did. They sent me a new controller. And so the problem was, though, is that it happened so early for me. They sent me a new controller that was a part of the first batch. So the second controller that came in got the same issue after like 3 weeks. Now all this sounds terrible, but like none of them have this problem now. That was just the first batch of the G7 Pros. they fixed the issue, and no one has reported to have that problem since then. And my current one right now does not have that problem, and I've had it since, I don't know, I've had this for like about 3 months compared. Now, even with that, the other two G7 Pros I still have on other gaming devices across all over my house, because the GameSir app is pretty good, where you can go into the app and then you can turn on fixed mode for the right trigger, and then change it to no dead zone on the trigger, and immediate reaction and instant reaction. And it will, even though you're pulling the trigger all the way down because there's no physical trigger stop being used, it will still in game react like a micro trigger. Now, for some people like myself, that's just not good enough, because I need to have the feeling of it not going all the way down. Plus, you got like your post trigger pull, where when you come up off the trigger, it can't take away the fact that the milliseconds of your finger like decompressing off the trigger, that distance is something you still have to travel, that you didn't have to travel with an actual hard physical trigger stop there. So regardless, it's just not as good as having my trigger stops. But all that said, that's why I got 3 of them. About to be 4 of them, but that's why I got 3. Yeah.
Hey man, I ain't knocking you, bro. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and you know, everyone keeps bringing up this in the chat, the Beatong. I think that's how you say it, the Beatong controllers. I don't have one of those yet. I might have to
Looking at it right now.
I might have to rectify that soon. So but after the Steam controller, I'm stopping for a while. No more controllers.
Oh Lord.
I was gonna get the 8-bit do Ultimate 3E controller, because that one's supposed to have like I think that's the one supposed to be a controller that their first one that does more than 1,000 hertz polling, but and it will work on the Xbox. But I'm gonna hold off. because I've gone overboard. It's just too many. At this point, I got too many controllers at this point. I'm giving my son controllers, and he's just like, Dad, I don't need all these controllers. He's got 2 right now.
Anytime a
He only
kid tells
uses
you
one.
he's overboard.
Right. But I mean, overall, okay, I'm getting one. Ramon, you said you're about 80% on the Steam controller. Forte, are you getting a Steam controller?
I'm gonna get one just because I got the last one, and I like the last one, but I just it just after a while,
it's too situational.
exactly. That's what it was for me, because I thought I was gonna be like, oh, I'll be able to use this like in StarCraft and stuff. Because when that came out, I was still heavily playing StarCraft, and it kind of worked in there, but it was like for the amount of games that it was like they sold you a pipe dream when they talked about all the things you could do with that controller, whereas it was way more niche than you even thought it could be. And I'm hoping that with this one, there's definitely going to be a more open suite to it. So I'm definitely going to jump into it, because, as much as I stuck with my Elite 2 for as long as I did I used to own a crap ton of controllers. I just kind of transitioned over to headphones, because, I'm like the slow-mo of headphones over here, as many headphones as I got.
You actually gave me, it was the funniest story. I had just like old headphones that I really liked. They were the Lucid Sound 30, was it the LS35X? I think.
35X.
And so like it broke on me. Like I had them for a long time. They eventually, like, one of the like the bar that connects the 2 cups finally broke, and I was like, dang, I'm never gonna find this controller, because I think Lucid Sound got bought out by Mad Catz, which is basically like
Oof.
they're dead because like no one
Yeah, they're
wants
dead.
Mad Cats to ever buy anyone because you just know the quality is just going to
Mad
drop
Cats
off
is
a
the reason
cliff.
I thought all third-party controllers were bad until I saw your polling thing. I was still stuck in that era of Mad Cats.
Mad
I'm like, why
Cats
would
is
anybody buy a third-party controller?
disgusting.
That
How are they still
that
in
was
business? I
back
don't know.
from when GameStop was Electronics Boutique when I worked there.
Yep.
That's how burned I was on Mad Catz controllers. I was remembering those controllers from when we were teenagers.
Yeah,
Or when I
they've
rented.
always been trash, and it's like it's you can see now like the Game Sirs, the 8-bit dudes, the Fly Digis, Gillakit, like a lot of these controllers, like the Be It Kong that people are talking about in the chat. Like these controllers are really starting to reverse the narrative, especially the Chinese ones. Reverse the narrative on third-party controllers. When you can get a third-party controller for less than you can get of a standard controller, and it's destroying everything a standard controller does. It's just you just can't ignore that. So, but uh so anyway, like Lucid Sound. So like yeah, they didn't even make the headset no more. And I don't even think Lucid Sound came out with any more headsets after that. It's just like Mad Catz bought them and just decided to sit on the brand or something. But like I couldn't find any more. And I was a little sad about it. Forte was like, "Oh, I got a Lucid Sound headset." I was like, "Wait, what? You have one? Like why
Brand new in a box.
brand new in the box, never used Lucid Sound I'm like, but I'm like, this thing stopped being sold like 2 years ago. Where did you get this? And he was like, hey, I'll give it to you. I'm not using it. So he just sent it to me. Thanks, Forte. And it's just like, so yeah. Forte is the headset guy. You know, maybe you should do some reviews on headsets, huh?
I actually did a review on the headset before, but more reviews than you did on the controller.
Anyway.
Oh man, that was a good counterpunch. That was a good counterpunch, man. You had an uppercut coming, but he leaned out the way and came back with a left hook.
It sure did. Let's get into this next topic. I'm actually pretty excited to discuss this. Saros came out yesterday. And I guess something that's a good benefit, at least for me, about not actually doing the show yesterday is that I didn't have time to play it yesterday. But I did play today for at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most. A little busy today, but I was still able to get some time in. Definitely really enjoying it. Ramon, have you played the game? You played the game. You said earlier you were playing the game. How many hours in are you at this point?
Well, I was exactly the opposite. I didn't get a chance to play it today, but I played it yesterday. I played about 3 hours.
Okay.
It's funny on the subject of settings to make it harder. There's one setting you can use to make it harder, and that setting is play Returnal first. What I mean by that is I was recently playing Returnal, and the mechanics are the same.
Mm-hmm.
However, the buttons aren't. So in Returnal, O is the dash button, and square is the melee. Whereas in Saros, L1 is dash and R1 is melee. That has been a hard mode setting for me, just trying to unmap that in my brain to get used to it. I
I'm
can't tell
gonna
you how
tell
many
you what I did. What did to deal with that? I'm using a DualSense Edge on the PlayStation. I mapped L1. I changed one of my profiles so that I mapped L1 to the left paddle, one of the left paddles that I have connected, and that basically allowed me to kind of like not have to worry about where that button is. So.
Well, I'm vanilla. I'm peasant vanilla, so I don't have that option. But I'm more or less gotten used to it though. But visuals are beautiful. I love bullet hell, so I'm looking forward to getting to some of the real major bullet hell stuff. But what I've
Have you
gotten to
fought
so
the
far,
first biome boss yet?
Not yet, unless it's the one that you were most likely going to lose to, so that you could get to the opening credits of the game. If
Oh
it's
no,
that
that's
one, yeah.
just yeah. Actually, I think on the jumbotron you're gonna see that fairly soon. That's just like it's like in a roguelike you gotta die. Like the
Yeah,
game really
exactly. They got
starts
to
when you
get to
die the first time, right? So
yeah.
but no, there's a you'll know it when you get to the boss, the
Okay, yeah,
first
I
boss
haven't
of the
reached it
biome.
yet.
I attempted him twice. I lost twice. I haven't. I'm gonna beat him. I might beat him tonight if I play tonight. But it's I I like it. I don't know if I like it more than Returnal yet, but I do love the application of the shield. I like the little mid level mini bosses they throw in there at you. Um, I think I do enjoy the way they've implemented the weapons a little. That's like a slight difference than compared to Returnal. And I think I like the main but like protagonist a little bit better. I'm very early on, so like I'm seeing a lot of stuff about what the story is and what's going on. I don't quite understand everything yet. Why would I'm still in Biome 1, but I just never really like, and sure, this one's kind of cryptic as well. But like the Returnal was just like, what the heck is going on? Like for the majority of the time, I'm just like, what is happening? Yeah, you get it eventually, but you just kind of like, what? So yeah,
I
I
really
think
want to ask you what you think is going on in Returnal.
I don't even remember honestly because it's been so long since I played it. But
I think it's over their
I
head. Go ahead, though. I'm going to drive the conversation away.
yeah, okay, yeah. I just remember being like the feeling of like, I'm starting like mentally checking out on what was happening because I just didn't think it was all that good. I'm not saying this story is like the best story ever. It's not Hades when it comes to a roguelike with a really great story, but I just find this one far more interesting than the other one. Plus, you're not just like straight by yourself for the most part. Like forgot the guy's name, but there's an entire crew there. So when you finish your run, you'll go back to like the main base or whatever, and he's talking with the crew. They're discussing what's the situation, the mission, what's going on. You'll even get like I lost to the first biome boss, and like one of my crew members was like, "Yeah, next time you come back here, I want to hear that you killed him." I was like, "All right, yeah, all right, yeah, I got you, I got you." I didn't, but still, but like I appreciate I appreciate the motivation. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I feel like there's just more there than there was with Returnal, and I appreciate how smart kind of taking what they did with the first game and improving upon it. Now I'll shut up because you got more time in this game than I do, so you could definitely speak more on it.
Well, um, controls are tight. It's faster. Like what's interesting is the little small decisions. Like he automatically runs, whereas in Returnal, Celine she jogs, but then you click L3 and then she runs. So little things like that. But it's in general just faster. It's just as so far it's just as frenetic, but I have a feeling it's even more frenetic when you start encountering some more powerful enemies. But one thing I will say is you can already see the enemies being more aggressive. Like just
Oh
even
yeah,
some of
oh yeah.
the more basic enemies are more aggressive. And you're just like, whoa, like they don't play around. They don't play around at all. Um, as with Returnal, I appreciate that each monster well some monsters the more dangerous monsters have an attack tail, as I call it. Like
Mm-hmm.
like the tentacles might flash red, right before it comes at you, like things like that.
Right.
And I mean, I'm having a good time with it. Like I said, I think the main reason why I died the few times I did is because I keep trying to hit Returnal mapped buttons instead of for this game. But I've more or less mostly adjusted. So once I'm fully adjusted to that, I expect I'll reach the boss on probably my next run. Story so far, I'm enjoying it. I'm still early on. But one thing that I typically skip, but I haven't been, and I've been reading it, is the logs. The written logs and the interviews and everything, because it gives you insight into the characters' personalities.
Yeah, I've been
Um,
reading
the,
those.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're very interesting. I mean, if like what I typically do with a game is I'll give you 1 to 3 logs, and if they're not interesting enough, then I'll just be like, I don't feel like dealing with it, because I'm in the game to play. Like, I love reading, but I'm kind of in the game for a different reason, right?
Yeah,
But
it's lore essentially, like logs,
it's lore, yeah.
correspondence, codexes. They're all lore, and they kind of help flesh out the world, the universe that you're in. They're not like fully necessary to understand the story, but if you truly want to understand the story in greater context and understand why people are doing what they're doing, or why certain things happen the way they did, then like deeper motivation kind of stuff, then it's good to read those things. Like I've always, me being someone that like is big on Western RPGs, like you get a lot of that kind of stuff in lore and text. And like for example with Dragon Age, like it's literally books of text that you can read to kind of understand what's going on really in the world, the history and everything. And so like whenever I see those things, I go read them, because
Yeah.
for me it's just really like fascinating. It's funny, I'm saying this to an actual writer, like hey, you should read the stuff, like sorry. Um
No, I'm actually bad about that. Like, you probably read more of the lore stuff in Dragon Age than I did, and I read a decent amount of it. But like, the best way I
if it's
can
good
say it
lore,
is,
I get what you're saying, because if it's good lore, great. If it's bad lore or just boring, then yeah, I get you're just not even
well, you
bothering because it's just not
and
worth it.
also because
Yeah.
your brain is in a different mode, right? Your brain is in a different mode, or at least mine is. When I'm playing a video game, like, I'll read stuff, obviously, because there's some good stuff, and like you say, good lore will suck you in. But when I crank up the game, like, I'm kind of in a different mode, unless I'm playing like an RPG where there's a lot of where the dialogue is in text form, then that's different. But I'm just, my brain's just switched in a different mode. But yeah, for sure, man. If the lore is really good and it's engaging,
Hmm.
and in this case, it's long enough but brief enough to where you're like, okay, I can take like a minute or two. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think they did a really good job with that. The world is like, well, I'm only on the first biome, but the world looks great. Something else that's been an adjustment is I have really, and I hate saying this because it's a freaking beautiful and smoothly running game. I never should have played Returnal
On
on
PC.
PC before I started playing this game.
Oh
Like, it's
Yeah.
like,
man.
just for everybody on console that's listening right now, the game is beautiful. Like Saros is a beautiful game. Like, it's smooth,
No,
buttery
no,
smooth.
no, no,
It's a
no.
great looking
We need
game.
we need a proper analogy for this. Okay, look.
But
Saros especially if you played Returnal, because Returnal may be the Returnal PC port may be one of the biggest jumps from PlayStation to PC in terms of like a glow up that there is in any of the ports that they did.
Hmm.
All of them did great. The last of ones had buggy issues, but they Naughty Dog definitely took advantage of the hardware available, and so did God of War. But like Returnal, with like the level of ray tracing that Returnal has compared to
oh,
the game on
oh,
PlayStation, it's like
God.
night and freaking day. It's like how. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. Okay, it's like how you may have dated a girl in college, and she was cute. She was a cute girl. She was attractive. But then you see like a supermodel, and you're like, okay, so that's like a whole different level of cute. That's a whole different level of
Yeah,
sexy. Like you know, compared to the girl you was dating in college, like that girl looks like a freaking Jabba the Hutt compared to this girl. That's the difference between Returnal PlayStation and Returnal PC.
I got one
And so when you play Saros, it's like I was watching one of the cutscenes, and I was like, you know, it looks good. Just not,
dude, it's hard, man.
not
It's I,
quite
I
there.
never thought I would be talking like this, but like to take your analogy in a
I
different
knew you was gonna
direction,
talk like
it's like
this.
a
PC
Toyota
Master
Supra.
Race.
It's like I'm rolling a Toyota Supra and it is fast and it's powerful and it's great. And then somebody rolls by in a brand new Lamborghini and it's just like, what, like, dude, like, okay, there's fast and then there's this kind of fast. Like, yeah, I never thought I'd be saying this. Like, Returnal looks great, but man, after looking at, I never should have played Returnal on PC before I started playing this. But that said, again, it's I'm loving what I'm playing so far, and I'm not far enough in it yet to say, oh, it's definitely a step up beyond Returnal. In some ways, it's apparent already. Like I say, the enemies being more aggressive and the combat being more frenetic, that is readily apparent. So it gives me confidence that everything that they've done with Returnal, they've stepped it up. It uses the haptics. It uses the adaptive triggers and everything, which I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, everything that you can do with the DualSense, Housemarque has done the best job with it outside of obviously Astro games. So I mean, they've given me my investments worth with my DualSense in the form of the haptic implementation. It's just so well done. The difference in the world between when it's regular and when the eclipse happens, it's like it's just night and day. The enemies are more aggressive and they're worse. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just the
And then
upgrades
you
are
have
cool.
yeah, I like how all the upgrades go from being just, you know, regular upgrade, just give you some good stuff to, yeah, here's an upgrade, but now it's corrupted, which is like it was part of the corruption that you would get in like it's similar to
Malfunction.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
yeah, malfunctions, my bad. Malfunctions from Returnal. It's
from
like that.
Returnal and now it's
Um,
corruptions. Yeah.
but like these only happen during the eclipse, which is like I like how it's a set kind of time period or whatever, a set portion of the
Yeah.
map where they occur. And and some of them I was looking at them, I was like, do I want that? Do I want to take this on?
It makes
No,
you
I think I'm
it
good.
makes you
I think I'm
decide.
good. Yeah, I was like,
Be more
I
generous.
don't think the positives, the benefits outweigh the negatives on this particular one. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they really make you stop and think about it. You have to think about like what trade-offs you're willing to take. And that's a cool dynamic, especially once you get better at the game and you know what? I'm breezing through this so much. I'll go ahead and take this corruption
Right,
because I
right.
want to try this. So you it has a lot for you to experiment with,
Question for you.
especially the more confident you get with the game.
Question for you. How do you
Yeah.
feel about the skill tree, the upgrade path with the skill tree, the permanent upgrades? Because it's a
I find
roguelite,
it
so it's like roguelites. You go into a run, you know, you may get a bunch of, you know, augments or attachments or whatever, and then or in the case of something like Hades, you get like all these boons from the gods, and then you die and you lose it all. But then you get something that's permanent, or something that you can use that then can allow you to get
it's
permanent
permanent.
upgrades
Yeah.
or permanent changes. So like when that's the skill tree thing, like what are your thoughts on that? Because like so far for me, I'm fairly early in on that, and but it doesn't seem very robust right now. I'm not saying it's not for certain. I just think early on it just didn't seem like much. Maybe I'm wrong, and you know later on it's awesome, but just so far right now, just kind of ho hum. What do you think?
Well, the impression I get from number one, it's actually pretty generous in the amount of upgrades I was able to get, permanent upgrades I was able to get from after finishing my first run. Like I completed a whole diamond, like it was, and then some, like maybe even a
Mm-hmm.
diamond and a half or something. Like it was pretty generous in that respect. As far as the actual buffs, yeah, they're they're lackluster right now, but the impression that I get is this is the foundation. Like you're
That is
building
true.
up your
Yeah,
health.
because
Yeah,
you gotta kind of, in order to get to, because I've gotten kind of like to the next level of what the,
yeah, same
yeah.
here. Yeah,
So you have to kind of fill everything out on the lower level to even be able to use like the purple one in order to get like the skill cap to go to the next level up. So
yeah.
yeah,
You're building
Th-
your
that, that, that-
foundation.
that's right. That's why I was saying like it's kind of basic now,
Yeah,
but it could definitely be much better later on. So I wasn't trying to like speak too soon on it, but it just seemed kind of just blah at the moment. Like it's not
yeah.
really doing
It's definitely
much for me
nothing.
right now.
Yeah, it's definitely nothing super exciting and yet. But the if I had to guess, I would say once you start getting to maybe the third level, because I've almost finished the second level with that second purple one. My guess is once you start getting past, maybe the third or maybe the fourth, I don't know how many they are, it'll start getting more dynamic and as because also there's no point in getting big major buffs while you're still learning the game as well, right?
True.
So
True.
they give you the buffs that give you some more health, and they give you like things like that in order to like while you're learning the game, you get these little extras, and then once you've mastered the controls and you're confident with everything, then they'll start throwing the major stuff at you because now you can actually handle it.
Yeah.
So
Which weapons are you feeling so far?
uh as much as I never like sidearms. There's one hand cannon that has the explosive rounds that does major damage. I
Yeah.
like that one, even if it is not my first choice because I don't like sidearms. And then the rifle, which rifle is it?
The smart
I can't
rifle.
remember. Is it, I want to say it might be the smart rifle.
That's the
Like I
one I
like I
like
love
the most so far. The smart rifle.
that's the one with the alt fire where it starts slow and it speeds up really fast, right? Is it that one
Maybe.
or is it?
I guess there's a tactical rifle and there's a smart rifle, and I just
Okay,
remember
yeah, the smart
in
rifle
my
then. Yeah.
limited time so far, I've enjoyed the smart rifle the most so far.
Yeah. I think it's the smart rifle then because yeah, the tactical rifle's okay, but there's the smart rifle. There's one I want to say there's a third rifle that shoots spectral rounds as well. But I think the smart rifle is the one because the alt fire with that where you hold the trigger down halfway and it just like and it just speeds up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. That is true. Yeah.
I think.
All right, Forte. I'm sorry. You've been kind of like,
No, no, you're good.
have you played it yet?
Uh, I am very up in the air because I don't. Ever since I played, like I started out playing Returnal on PS5, and then
Mm-hmm.
I had that whole situation that happened with my save, and I stopped. And then when it came out on PC, I bought it on PC, and what I played over there, I just don't want to play on anything like that type of game. I don't want to play on console, so it's like I'm in a rock and a hard place
Probably not gonna have a
because
choice at this point, bro.
and that's the thing. It's like, do I want to force myself to play this game on a console? But I have a pre-order copy of it. I was thinking about if I did anything, I would pick it up tomorrow. So I definitely want to play it. It just really comes down to if I'm going to do it right away or not, or if it's going to be something I'm just going to wait and do. But part of me feels like I'm just going to end up buying it and just biting the bullet and doing something I don't want to do, which is play this game on a console because I just love the way Returnal played on a PC. Like you said, it was probably the biggest jump that they had in performance in gameplay that all of their games had in general. And like it's like night and day the way Returnal played on console. I mean PC versus console. So but like you said, Ramon, I might not have a choice, but But I'm definitely gonna play it. It just really depends on when at this point. It might be sooner rather than later at this, because I've been watching a couple of people stream. Shout out to Erica. I was watching her stream and play it earlier, and a couple other people stream and play it.
Shout out to Erica for the win.
Yeah, I was like, man,
Shout out to Erica.
this looks really, really good. So I like the way that I like the way that a lot of the gameplay strings together now. Like I was like watching people talk about like, oh, it's going to be easier because of this and that, and I was like, man, y'all don't know who y'all dealing with. Housemark know how to throw the okie doke at y'all. Y'all felt all confident because they said, oh, they gave you a shield and everything. The first thing I said was, they giving you a shield, it's about to be harder. It's about to be so much harder. But yeah, I was kind of surprised to see a lot of people where they were in the game. It looks like I think the onboarding, I did watch the beginning part of it. I think the onboarding in this one is like better. I mean, it should be better than Returnal was. But I think it's just the fact that Returnal was kind of the first. A lot of people just don't know how to like gauge if it's better or not at this point. I do think a lot of things are better in this one just from looking at it, but I have to play it to see it for myself at this point.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I guess we'll have more thoughts on it as we get more time into the game. You know, maybe next week on doing the what are we playing section, we can get a little deeper in it. I so far I will say for myself, I am far more invested in Saros than I was in Returnal. And I think that might be because like the gameplay is largely the same. It's improved. That's not enough to really get me more invested. I think it has more to do with the characters and the story. So for me, it's just like, oh, okay. You know, I am more invested in where this is going and what's happening than in the previous game, where it was just kind of like groundhog. I mean, yeah, I mean, every roguelike is you dying a lot and then coming back to randomly generated like, you know, level design. But Return is very much like Groundhog Day, you know, with a soccer mom in a sci-fi space setting.
Full-on astronaut. Returnal actually had me so engaged because I'm like, what is going on? And then when I came across her house, that was the first time I was like, wait a minute, is this in her head? Is all this happening in her head? Because how does her house get to an alien planet? And then when you start seeing all of the different, like the particle memories in the different chambers from the Atropians, and then you realize that the horned one is her, and then like all these things, and then when you look at the names, all the names are from the Greek, the Greek deities, I think. Like you got Helios, and then like Hyperion stuck to the organ, and then you have Helios, who's her son, and then like all these different things. But then when you look at her eye color, so her eye color, both of her eyes are different colors, and if I'm not mistaken, people who have had an instance where I don't know if it's they nearly drowned or something to do with nearly drowning in water or water pressure or something like that can actually cause one of your eyes to be discolored. Really? And that's how, and yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I need to look it up again. I remember looking something up and seeing that. And it's like both of her eyes are different colors. So it's like, so did that happen? And that was the catalyst for this whole thing that happened in her head with Return. Like there's so much depth to that story, man. I mean, when you get the true ending, there's, you know, which I still need to get. I looked it up, but there's so much speculation that can come out of that story. It's unreal. Like there's so much going on with that story.
Yeah.
Not to drag this back to Returnal again. It's one of my favorite games of the generation, but
oh no, you good, man. You good, bro. Let's go ahead and get into this final topic. Final topic of the evening is the story that everyone seems to have lost their mind over earlier in the past week since our last show. PlayStation DRM controversy. late last week, people began finding out or realizing that PlayStation had implemented a check-in, like a temporary temporary license registered to you for new and current games that were coming out. This didn't apply to older games that you already owned, but like for newer games that are coming out, like for example, Saros, people were noticing that like there was a timer with a temporary license, and so speculation went rampant. A lot of people had a lot of ideas. We first started hearing, "Oh, it's just a bug. It's no big deal. It's a bug." And then people were saying, "Oh, they're implementing DRM. They're going to check your account every 30 days." And why would they do it every 30 days indefinitely? I have no freaking idea. But this is what people were saying. People were asking the customer service AI questions. People were asking human PlayStation AI. That's not human PlayStation customer service questions. Getting various human AI, right? Getting various different answers. And meanwhile, Sony was just not saying anything. For 5 days, Sony didn't say a damn word about any of this stuff. And then finally, after 5 days, they come out and said that, and I'll quote here, players can continue to access and play their purchased games as usual. A one-time online check is required to confirm the game's license, after which no further check-ins are required. So essentially, the reason why Sony implemented this is because, like, you know how like a lot of people say, oh, PC gamers are full of cheaters. Full of cheaters and pirates, and all they do is steal games. Or apparently they're not the only one who steal games, because PlayStation implemented this to deal with people stealing games on the PlayStation 4 and on the PlayStation 5. The way they were doing this is that they would buy a game, install said game, then they would call up customer service or whatever. They would get a refund for the game. They would take their PlayStation offline and then play the game offline. And that was them getting a free game. And so this was this method of a one-time check after, I think it's like 14 days or something like that, was in order to kind of curb this kind of behavior of people stealing the games. That explanation did not fly with some people who likened this to the DRM situation of Microsoft Xbox back in 2013, 2012, 2013, with the Xbox One, where Xbox was going to implement a DRM check on a daily basis, a daily online check, and your Xbox would not work if you did not have that check available for you. And as we all know, that didn't go very well for Xbox. So there's a lot of people that were trying to compare that situation to this. For a good number of people, the explanation Sony came out with was good enough for them, and they were said, whatever, fine. Me personally, all my stuff is online all the time, regardless. So for me, this never. If no one had brought this up, I never would have found this out. Because all my stuff is always online. I'm never offline. Not saying that like nothing can change in my financial situation or whatever. Like, that's not that, but it's just I wasn't going to notice it, and as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really bother me. That said, my only issue with Sony is the fact that they wasted 5 days of people speculating, people talking, people coming up with their own narratives instead of just crushing whatever the issue is and explaining what you did and why you did it when it first came up. And I know there are people who will say, well, SloMo, they can't respond to everything. They can't, like if they respond to every question people have, then, they'll be doing this all day. Hello? What do you think a customer service department's for? What do you think public relations are for? This is what big corporations have. They literally hire people to do this. This is their job. Their job is to talk about things that are implemented, answer questions, and alleviate concerns. That's what they do. People have a job and medical benefits and make it a career. So the idea that they shouldn't be doing their job just doesn't fly with me. That may be fine for other people, but for me, that's not good enough. And why is it not good enough? Because after I made a post on Twitter saying all this could have been alleviated a while ago, if Sony would just, I don't know, just make a statement on it. And people were like, well, they should make a statement. Imagine having to do this all the time. And I'm just like, yeah, maybe that's why I don't have a job in customer service and in PR. Because I can't imagine having to always respond to things like this. But someone does, because people have jobs that do that. And of course, I was right, because same day, Sony comes out with the statement that they made, proving that it did need to be addressed. The problem is that they waited too long to be addressed. And the reason why before I shut up and you guys can say your piece on it, the reason why you want to address these things sooner, not everything deserves to be addressed. Something can, be done in a private one-on-one conversation with customer service for someone who has a legit gripe or concern. But when you get media outlets taking the rumors that are not accurate to what you're doing and running with it, when you get a ton of current customers as well as potential customers getting information that is not accurate and running with it, your lack of response is the only thing I can actually say is your fault. Because at this point, and we've seen this all the time, and this is how misinformation spreads, or any information will spread. The first statement, the first discussion on it is what more people see. We see this in whether it's in gaming, entertainment, music, sports, it doesn't matter. The first statement that goes out is what the majority of the people see. When things get corrected or there's a retraction, oh, we got that wrong, our bad, way less people see that than the first thing. And when you wait a long time to finally address something, even less people will see that, because as we understand with the news cycle, things can cycle in and out within 24 to 48 hours as quickly as possible. And the more time you waste not making your statement on whether something is true or not, or even if it is true, explaining your side of things, that maybe people understand it, maybe they don't, but at least you're actually attempting to address the issue. The more time you waste not doing that, the less people see your statement. And that becomes a problem, because especially if someone believes something that's not true about what you're doing. And sure, there are people who are just like, I don't like this whatsoever. I bought a game. I gave you my money. I don't care if it is a temporary license. You shouldn't give me no temporary anything. Fool, whatever. Everyone's feel free to feel how they feel about things. I'm just saying that PlayStation needs to get better at addressing issues. Yeah, that's all. Forte, what are your thoughts about all this stuff? Did I lose Forte?
Oh no, here I was muted. When I first saw it, I was like, dang, that sucks. I said that's like 2013 all over again. I was like, well, it never, when I heard it, I was like, I instantly just go to my thought process on it. And I was sitting there like, whatever. I'm always online anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like I always have internet for the most part. I said the only time it would suck is when I didn't. So it didn't really like bother me. But then I saw just literally everybody like talking about it, news articles coming out. And I said at a certain point, I said, this has to be real, because Sony just isn't like saying anything. It's like, I said, either this
part of it, right? Like when people say you don't say anything, they think, oh, it must be real. It must be true.
real. Because
So,
it's
you're not
either they
saying
must
nothing.
be real, or they're trying to, or like I said, this is either real, or they're trying to craft a statement to see if they want to go back on this, and they just trying to
Mhm.
figure out the language of doing it. Because part of me, as soon as I heard about it, I was like, yeah, I think this might be real. And then the more and more the conversation went on for like the next couple of days, I was like, man, and they ain't saying something. I was like, either two things are happening here. One, they're trying to craft a statement about why they're doing it, or they're crafting a statement about how it's not happening. I was like, so part of me feels like at a certain point, this probably was a thing, because, you're guilty by association at that point. It's like, it doesn't take you a whole entire work week. And it's the whole other thing too. It happened at the beginning of the week. It wasn't like something that festered over the weekend. It wasn't like they was out of the office and they
Oh, no,
had
it
to
did.
like, no,
I
wait,
think
when did it? It happened
I
on?
think
Didn't it
this
happen on like on
started.
Sunday or something, or Monday?
I thought this started. Maybe someone in the chat can correct me. I thought I first saw people talking about this on last weekend, like on Saturday or something.
Okay,
I feel
well,
like that's when I
and they finally came out and
maybe
said
I'm
their
wrong.
statement when.
Well, okay, so they said it yesterday.
Yesterday
So
was
that's
Thursday, bro.
Thursday.
We
So
still went a
5
whole
days.
entire work week until you
Yeah, it was
decided to
like
say
Saturday or
something.
Sunday. Yeah, it was like Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. So it's like I think a lot of people had a right to, I mean, you have the right no matter what. I just think a lot of people were probably right on the money about a lot of the stuff that they were saying, and good on media and everybody for talking about it and all of this other stuff. Because let's be fair, let's go. This Sony ain't different. It's like it's no different from 2013. When they, oh, we were never going to put a camera in a box, and our system was never going to be $500, but we saw Microsoft walk out there and take a hand grenade to the face, and we're about to change all this stuff. What
Right.
DRM? Oh no, we ain't doing that. $500 console? What? We're not doing that either. Oh, camera before we can spy on you? Take that thing out of the box so we can charge less money for it. Listen, all these corporations they all act and react off of each other, and I'm telling you, the fact that I would have been like more on the lines that this was a situation that was just misunderstood. If, like you said, it came out, like the rumors came out on Saturday, but by Monday, Tuesday morning, they came out with a statement talking about the same thing they just said today. But dude, that's $1 billion company. It don't take 6 days for you to come up with a response to tell people that this
Right.
isn't a thing. So guess what?
And just real quick, I didn't say anything beyond they taking too long to address this, because I wanted
Exactly.
them to address it. Like, people jump out the window thinking they know certain things, or like they take rumors and some dude on a message board claims he works for Sony and he said this kind of nonsense. Whatever it is that agrees with their narrative or what they want it to be is exactly what they believe. And half of them do that. I'm sorry, a lot of them do that, and half of them take a L when the actual story comes out, or they're taking a victory lap because it turns out they were right. It's just like, I'm more along the lines of, I don't know what they're doing, and I'm not going to pass no judgment, nor am I going to pretend like Sony or Saints and everyone else is the villain. Like, come on now. Or the opposite, where everything they do is nefarious, and I mean, most corporations don't care about us anyway. Actually, all corporations don't care about us anyway. So, of course, they're going to do whatever they feel they can do to retain money or not lose any money due to pirating. And if that means changing things that they didn't quite put in terms of conditions, or if that means you as a consumer not getting the full rights of what you paid for right when you bought it, they're going to do that. And if they feel you might not like that they're doing that, they may decide to choose not to tell you until they got no choice. All that seems very reasonable to me. But what doesn't seem reasonable to me is when after they made their statement and some people are like, you know what? I still don't believe them. Nope. Something's happening. Something's happening in the back. Like, all right, look, tinfoil, take the tinfoil hat off.
Take the tinfoil hat off.
You know, like, it's over. It's just, it's over with. You can, if you don't like it, don't buy their games. If you do, if you don't care, fine. If you were never going to steal anything, and how dare they imply that I would do something like that? One, they don't know you, they don't care to know you, and they're not treating you any differently than treating anyone else. That said, if you are of the mind of like, none of this should be a thing. If I buy a game, it's my game. I want my permanent license right away. I don't want to see something happen later on where I don't get the permanent license because of some kind of mistake or error or whatever based on what you implemented or potentially may have shoddily implemented.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we deal with DRM all the time. The majority of the people bought Resident Evil Requiem on PC. Guess what you had with that? DRM. And it impacted the performance of your game. But guess what? Still played it and enjoyed it anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. Do we like it? No. But do we accept it for the most part? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, look, maybe people stop stealing games. And we don't have that goes for PC gamers, that goes for, you know, the console gamers. Once again, this whole situation it happened because console gamers have been stealing games. Yeah, you console guys who act like only PC gamers steal games. How does it feel eating that L, you dum-dums? Yes, everyone steals games. Platform doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. My bad.
And my thing on this is, okay, first, when this started to catch fire, like, let's just say they do prioritize what they respond to. We got what do you expect? We got CEOs from third party publishers saying, if you want gaming to go a certain direction, you got to get used to not owning anything. You got all of this talk about, you know, you're not buying the game, you're buying the license, blah, blah, blah. Games can be revoked, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. So what do you think? How do you think people are going to respond when they see something like this, when we're already being told, when we see some of these companies that want our money but don't want us to have ownership of the things that we spend our money on? Of course people are going to go nuclear, because it's like we're in a constant battle of, dude, just give me what I'm giving you my money for.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
big facts on that. We're fastly approaching a situation where, like, in the future, all these platforms are going to be wanting us to rent games. They're going to want us to rent games. They're going to want us to be playing through the cloud, so that you don't even own the game. Really, you don't have it stored on local storage. You don't get to actually uninstall or reinstall anything, and then they can just cut your access off anytime they want. Honestly, they can kind of do that now.
They can do that now. That's what I'm saying. You technically
they
renting
really
games now.
But like, they want even more control, where essentially you never own anything. Like, you only play games that you're renting or you're subscribed to something through, and you, like, that's the end game. We don't even buy hardware, like hardware to run it on. They just want
they
you
would love that. They would love it. Yeah.
You know, connecting to a data center somewhere and incurring ridiculous, you know, bandwidth fees with your ISP in order to play the same kind of experience that you were playing locally without those problems. They would love.
If you're lucky, it's the same experience.
Right.
If you're lucky, it's an equal experience.
Like this, when we know that is the end goal, or at least the utopia that all these corporations really kind of want, except for maybe Nintendo. You gotta be kind of judicious with this stuff. Like, I don't mind the people holding Sony accountable. I don't mind the people like, hey, wait a minute, what the heck is this? I just don't like seeing people basically running with narratives that haven't been verified and looking
Exactly.
like Boo Boo the
Man,
Fool out
SloMo is
here.
getting wrecked
Exactly.
right here.
I was talking to E.
That
I
was my
was
first
talking
time
to E
fighting the
about it.
boss. Leave me alone.
No, I was talking to E about it. Shout out to Eric Jackson. And the first thing I said, if this is true, and that's where you have to start. You're like, okay, this looks bad. All right, if this is true, then I might have to do A, B, C. And I told him, I was like, man, if this is true, then I'm just gonna start buying their games used on disc. You know what I mean? Like, because again, like, where else is your mind going to go with all of this stuff that we know and this stuff that that some of these companies have already said? So Sony took their sweet time, got a lot, burned through a little bit of goodwill, taking their sweet time to coming up with a statement, but they finally did. They came out with the statement. They said why the matter is closed. The reason they have to do this, as you said, is because of thieves. Thieves make everybody's life worse. Thieves make everything harder for us, and thieves make things more expensive for us. The reason we got Denuvo, the paying customers on Steam, buying Denuvo games where it 9 times out of 10 ill affects the performance in a game. So we're effectively paying for a worse experience than the thieves who are stealing the games. And then you got Sony who has to implement this, okay, we give you a temporary license, and then after 30 days, the license is yours. And they have to come up with all these creative ways to figure this out because you got these thieves out here who want to take what doesn't belong to them. And so it's like, I mean, just as we hold these corporations' feet to the fire and we criticize them, rightfully so, folks need to start taking accountability in their own backyard as well. And we need to start recognizing that, yeah, corporations don't care about us, but at the same time, we have to be reasonable. Like, they're protecting their self-interest as well, and they're going to do whatever they can do to protect their self-interest. It's no different than you putting an alarm on your house or your car to keep some trash bag thief from coming up and taking it. So I mean,
Right.
there's accountability on all sides with this.
Right.
And just like what you said, console game, there's people on console who steal games as well. Maybe it's a little more difficult or they have to get more creative or whatever. We see what they were doing and why
No, they
Sony's
just go
implementing
to
what they have.
they just go to Target and Walmart when they sold games and just take them off the wall. That's how they got them.
And and you just reminded me of something, Forte. Back when I used to work at well, like I said before, when it was Electronics Boutique, I remember the generous return policy we had where you buy a game after
7
5 days.
days.
If you don't like it, you can bring it back to exchange it for another game. Why
That's
isn't
still
that policy in a huh?
that's still the policy right now.
Oh, is it still?
Sure
Well,
can. Buy
maybe it was different different in from state to state or something because I remember when they did away with that and they're like, yeah, people were abusing it because they were just, they would buy a game, beat it real fast, come back and get another game and they just kept doing it.
Oh, well,
Or
it
they
was
would
never with
abuse
new
the
games. It was always used games for us.
yeah, it was used games as well. Oh yeah, it was used games. I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, it was used games. And then the buy two get the third one
Free, yeah.
half off or free or something
Is
like
this
that.
why you
And they were
guys
abusing that.
started taking the disc out of the box and putting the disc like behind the counter? And so like people would come up with the box and then you would go find the disc and put it in the
Yep.
box when they bought it.
Yeah,
Yep.
all these things that have to be done, and
Yep.
really cool policies that we have, dude. And it's across all mediums. Like I'll give you a perfect example. I'll give you a different example. On Amazon with ebooks, I can see, I can see the sales for each of my titles and what region that they're buying from and so forth. I watched a person because I was looking at my sales once, and they bought the first book in my series. It was a four book series. They bought the first book, and then suddenly I have a return for the first book, and then I see the second book get bought, and then suddenly I have a return for the second book, and somebody was buying each book and returning it, reading through the entire series for free. And Amazon just barely, I think maybe a year or two or 3 years ago, they finally implemented something to curtail that. But for years, authors were screaming at Amazon, like, can you please do something about this? Because people literally just buy the ebook and return it, speed read through it in like the return policy, and they're reading every single book. I have friends that had like 20 books in a series, and it was like people would like read all 20 books and didn't pay a penny.
Crazy.
Crazy.
And they wonder why
I
these
love those
corporations
loopholes.
go to these extreme things. Is that's the blame on our side. People are thieves.
Yeah, that's
I'm off
true.
my soapbox now.
No, you definitely like. I mean, being a writer, you've dealt with that aspect of things and storefronts and whatnot. So like, you've had to deal with it personally. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Your feelings on it. I just
There's
I just wish people would employ more patience, the same kind of patience that they want for their favorite platforms, or vice versa, or for those who were extra, detective mode when the other platform has something that seems questionable, and they
yeah.
turn into Columbo slash
Columbo.
murder she wrote, slash CSI detective, IT detective out of nowhere, act like they know things. They have no idea what the heck they're talking about. They don't know anything about how any of this stuff works, but they pretend they do. And then they're out here telling everyone, oh, see, this is what's really going on, what's really happening. They don't know anything, but they're so invested in this simply because of who is involved in it. And it's just like,
Yep.
I know people think that, yeah, it's just console warring, we're just having fun. But like, seeing how some of y'all get in these situations, it's not just console warring for some of you. For some of you, it's like life and death for some reason. I have no idea
Yep.
why,
It's a
but
life and death.
It's so true. You can tell
Caesar.
oh man, and then you got the ones that may have started off as just fun console warring, and then they got a little too wrapped up in it, and then they start making statements like GT7 on PS5 Pro is 8K 120. Uh, this you know who I'm
Yeah.
talking about, and if you're
Oh
listening, I
man.
know you're capping, so you need to stop it. You know what I'm talking
Wow,
about.
bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have to refrain from puking coat hangers every time I hear him say that.
Oh man, not like this.
Shout out to the homie. Who you know who I'm talking about. You know who you
That's
are.
crazy. That's
Not
crazy.
like
Much
this.
love, much love. No smoke. Much love, but you capping though. You capping, but much love.
Yeah.
All right, let's get
Yeah.
up out of here. Good show, man. Some very interesting topics. I am I believe we might have some interesting comments on this video post show for me to read and laugh at over the weekend. So can't wait to see that. Uh, Ramon, though, appreciate you coming through once again, sir. Let everyone know where to find you, man.
Yeah, you can find me primarily on Blue Sky. That's where I'm mm, the most apt to be active. Um, if you're on Instagram, I'm on Instagram. I don't do much with it, but I'm there. If you hit me up, I'll respond. But primarily, Blue Sky is where you'd find me. I mean, Facebook is just one of those things. It's like that old pair of socks in the black back of your drawer. It's there, but you don't really wear them. So I'd say just look me up on Blue Sky. Enjoy your games, fellas. Thanks for having me as usual. It's been a blast,
Of
and
course, of course.
Saros is awesome. Games are awesome. Enjoy your games.
No doubt. Forte.
Yo.
When are you gonna start playing using that 8K controller, man?
Oh, I already started using it.
Yeah, I know this through Discord. Discord snitched on you. You've been playing Battlefield this entire show.
Well, I'm in Battlefield. Well, I've been paying attention. I ain't stopped.
Oh, my
I've been paying attention.
I've definitely been paying attention. I've been having conversations. Yo, this controller feel really good. Feel really good. I was like, whoo, look at these 10 bombs I'm dropping out here, bro. Like 10.0 KDs and stuff. Let's go.
Well,
Got to go on Call of Duty and do this now. See if that what happens over there. Not tonight. Don't go to bed.
Oh, of course you're ducking tonight.
I got to duck tonight. I'm so tired, bro. I get off work at 2:00 tomorrow, though. I'm not doing anything after that.
Well, I can't go anywhere. I have a contractor coming in tomorrow to do some things, so I will be available. But outside of that, Forte, let everyone know where they can find you outside of Battlefield.
You can find me on the highway. Great show as always. Appreciate Ramon coming through and hanging out with us as he always does. Shout out to Slumbo for finally giving that man the ability to see and come into the DPS podcast chat without somebody dragging him in, kicking and screaming. I appreciate that.
He had the capability, man. Look,
well, I thought I could talk during a podcast too, and I guess that wasn't the case at the beginning of this show. But I'm just gonna throw shade where shade is deserved because I was shaded on the whole time that I was doing the pod. I was being shaded on the whole time.
It sounded a little interesting.
Yeah. That's why I'm going to bed. I'm tired. DPS podcast next week gonna be a great show. See you guys then. Trying to think anything else. Enjoy your games. DRM is definitely still a thing. You just don't have to worry about checking in every 30 days anymore. But if they decide to turn the servers off, we'll see who laughs last. But I'll definitely pick it up Returnal. I was thinking about it. I'm just gonna pick up my pre-order, and I have a feeling I'm just gonna have to do. What did I say? You said Returnal. Yeah, right. Returnal. Yeah, because that's what this game is. I'm gonna pick up Saros tomorrow, and
it's really good. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I decided to go ahead and just upgrade, and I got the deluxe edition. The outfits are nice. They have a God of War inspired one, a Ghost of Yote inspired one, or maybe Tsushima. I'm not sure which one. Maybe Yote. And there's two other ones. I can't remember what they are, but those outfits are nice.
I
usually don't do that either. I usually don't do that.
And that's the thing. I used to do that all the time, but now it's like with the price of these games now, it's like they have to give me more than just skins to make me want to give them. Like I said, it's only $10 more, and they're trying to add the value that way. But I'm like, okay, but once I beat this game a couple of times, I'm never gonna look at this skin again, and it's just one of those weird things at this point now. And like you said, we always try to tell them to find ways to increase the value of their games, and I'm in no way saying that this isn't a way to do it. It's just at a certain point.
No, that's fair though. That's fair.
It's just a skin. It's not.
You're not wrong at all.
And so that's just where I'm at with it, and because I thought about the same thing. I said, do I want to get the deluxe edition? And it was the same with Pragmata. Like I was thinking about getting the deluxe edition because I like the cat lunar suit that you get, that he runs around in, and it looks cool. But then I was like, literally everything that you're getting is $10 more, and it's skins. That's it. And I was like, it's like crazy. That's all we're getting. I like, at least I think, like, didn't Elden Ring give you like the soundtrack or something, if I remember correctly? Or I know there's games that give you soundtracks for like the extra $10. At least that's something that I can actually like download to my phone, and like Cognito does it all the time, like with the
when he does his workout.
Yeah, when he for 33 Expedition 33, I know you got the soundtrack and stuff, and he just be working out to it. So I feel like that's something tangible. It's like you still get extra stuff with that on top of soundtrack. So I'm just going on a rant now. I just want, if we're gonna pay a little bit more money for these deluxe editions and it's not like DLC inspired, just give us more than skins. Just give us a photo book or something. Art book.
No, you're not wrong
something.
about you're definitely right about that. And to be fair, the only reason I did it is because I had like $6 left on a gift card, and so I was like, man, I don't have to pay $4 for it.
Yeah,
so I was like,
right.
I might as well anyway. And it turned out that I really liked it. But if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't have did it. But they are nice. So if you're on the fence because you like skins, I would say in that context it's worth it. But otherwise, like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it either if I didn't have that last little bit of credit.
Yeah, but with that being said, appreciate you guys. DPS next week, Gaming Forte, YouTube, Twitter. Still on Blue Skies. I got to figure out what my login is to that. I haven't logged into that in a minute. But guys, enjoy your weekend and have a good day.
Yep. We're out. Maybe I'll stream something. I don't know. I say this all the time. If I have time, I'll figure something out. But if not, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully Thursday. Hopefully work doesn't change things. But you know how it is. Life happens. But we will be seeing you guys at least at some point next week. So hope you guys enjoy your games and peace out.
Peace out.
Peace.